Hello everyone and welcome! Today I've got something special for you. Another set of Wings of Fire characters as D&D dragons, complete with backstories. It's been 2 years since my original video, and I'm super excited to share the rest of our crew. If you haven't seen my original D&D video, be sure to check that out too. It features most of the main POV characters. Also, don't forget I have my mystery boxes available right now in my store. They're a super cool assortment of Wings of Fire merch you can get for Christmas. There are multiple sizes and all kinds of awesome goodies to be had, so if you're interested in that, go ahead and click this link and go take a look. Now, last time I saved my favorite group for last, but honestly, I love all of these groups and their stories way too much to pick a favorite. So let's just dive in. Alright, starting us off today, we have a somewhat unlikely pairing in the Outclaws, starring Thorn and Deathbringer. Thorn is a monk, someone known for her prowess at hand-to-hand combat and martial arts, as well as her extreme focus in and out of battle. I thought this class was so perfect for Thorn. Thorn grew up in the Scorpion Den, one of many city-states in the Kingdom of Sand. For as long as anyone can remember, the Kingdom of Sand, while ruled by a queen, is in truth ruled by the dozens of lords constantly scrapping over territory and cities. The desert is a hotbed for territory disputes, rivalries, and crime, without any centralized power or leadership despite their supposed queen. Oasis may call herself the queen, but she holds no real power, and after her death, her daughters only cause more fragmentation. Growing up in one of these cities, Thorn was a tough dragonette who grew into an even tougher adult. She was known for intense concentration on her goals, fair treatment of her followers, and extreme danger in battle. Unlike many, Thorn didn't rely over much on weaponry. Growing up in the streets, the first weapons she'd learned to fight with were her claws and her teeth. Thorn and her followers are called the Outclaws. At first, they were just one of many gangs roving the Scorpion Den, which had been ruled by Lord Vulture for as long as anyone could remember. Though many of the ruling lords could be cruel, Vulture was one of the worst. Thorn had been working to undermine him for years when she met someone who would help her take over, his own nephew, Keebly. Aided by Vulture's rebellious nephew, who would come to be one of her most trusted outlaws, Thorn was finally able to overthrow Vulture, killing or exiling many of his dragons. Since that fateful day, she's been a benevolent, if firm, leader for her city. Not long after her successful takeover of the Scorpion Den, Thorn ran into an unusual stranger. A Nightwing, of all dragons, named Deathbringer. Nightwings are an extremely reclusive tribe, not often out in the world, but Deathbringer is a rogue assassin. Assassins are a subclass of rogue. Basically, they specialize in, well, murder. So they take rogue skills that are particularly suited to that instead of, say, stealing or spying. They're swift, quiet, proficient with weapons, ordinary and odd, and definitely not something you want to run into in a dark alley. Deathbringer used to be an assassin working for the Nightwing tribe, but after his mother died during a mission, he became frustrated with their leadership. He went rogue not long after, unsure where he would go or what he would do, but certain that he could no longer obey orders from the dragons who got his mother killed. He met Thorn when he took out a contract to assassinate her. He'd been hired by Vulture as he fled the Scorpion Den. Thorn beat him even though he sneak attacked her, which is nearly impossible, and beat him so soundly that Deathbringer got an earful about why he was an idiot to take contracts from Vulture while she pounded him into the ground. Deathbringer was sure he was going to die that night, but Thorn shocked him when instead of executing him, she had him thrown from the city. That should have been the end of it, but Deathbringer had never been good at leaving well enough alone. He was back in Thorn's command tent 4 days later, having spent the previous 4 days sneaking back into the heart of the city. He wasn't trying to kill Thorn this time, just test his skills against hers. She beat him soundly, threw him out on his ear, and went back to reading her reports. This pattern went on for over a month. It got to the point where her outlaws would greet Deathbringer in the halls when they caught him sneaking through. Eventually, Thorn accepted the weirdest job application ever and agreed to train Deathbringer and allow him to join the Outclaws. Since then, he's been living in the Scorpion Den, training with them, helping defend Thorn from her enemies, and cheerfully attempting to sneak up on her when his skills need some sharpening. He's yet to actually successfully take her in a fight, but Deathbringer is nothing if not persistent. Next up, we have the Order of Agate, a Skywing organization for members of the royal house who serve their kingdom. Queen Ruby is a paladin in the Order of Agate. Paladins are holy knights who swear oaths, usually to their deity, but in the case of the Order of Agate, they swear to the Skywing Kingdom. Not all in the Order are paladins, but it is tradition for the Queen of the Skywings to be a paladin who swears to the good of the kingdom. That way, she's always bound to do what's best for her subjects. Ruby's mother is the infamous Queen Scarlet, a fallen paladin who broke her oaths and committed unspeakable atrocities before she was exiled. Living in the shadow of that horrible legend, Ruby has done whatever she can to restore faith in the royal family since she's taken the throne. Ruby never expected to inherit the throne. She had many sisters who were ahead of her in the line of succession. She grew up training to become a general or a minister, someone who would help manage the huge Skywing kingdom. However, when all of her sisters disappeared mysteriously over several years, Ruby suddenly found herself much higher in line for the throne. Her mother was cast out as an oathbreaker before she could kill her final daughter. It came out during the investigation that Scarlet had been behind the disappearances of all of Ruby's sisters. Ruby was suddenly queen, and totally unprepared. Her brothers helped lead the kingdom while she was trained by the elders of the Order of Agate. Not long after her mother's supposed death, Ruby swore her oaths to the kingdom and was crowned the new queen. Since then, it seems all Ruby does is clean up after her mother. She is constantly learning about new crimes committed in the dark, new dragons who simply disappeared one day, new lies told. It's exhausting patching the cracks that have been spreading throughout her kingdom for years. But in Queen Ruby, the Skywings have found a truly caring leader, willing to put in as much work as needed. In fact, one of the ways Ruby is seeking to rectify her mother's crimes is by taking a young Skywing under her wing, a dragon named Sky. Sky is a druid. This is literally perfect for him. Druids harness wild magic to communicate with animals, shapeshift, and heal. They're in tune with the natural world and often have animal companions. Sky is just another orphan among many whose lives were changed by Scarlet. Unbeknownst to him, Scarlet stole his twin sister Peril and raised her in service to the throne. He never knew that the powerful sorcerer who served the queen was his own twin sister. Sky was left for dead when Scarlet realized he didn't have any power to speak of. He grew up working as a messenger in the Sky Palace. He trained as a druid when he wasn't working. Sky loves animals and always feels most at peace out in nature, away from the bustle of the Skywing Palace. He even has an animal companion. It's very unusual for a dragon, but he likes Ren quite a bit. He can talk to her no matter what the other dragons keep saying. Ruby's known Sky since he was young, since he's always worked in and around the palace. But when she found out that Scarlet was behind the death of his parents, she felt it was her duty to make sure that the young dragon was taken care of. Sky's unnamed parents were part of some project her mother had been working on. With one of her advisors who'd escaped in the chaos of Scarlet's fall, she'd been trying to breed dragonets who would have incredible powers. Peril, their exiled sorcerer, is the only known survivor of this project who actually have powers, and hers are nearly uncontrollable. However, it appears that when Scarlet realized Sky was powerless, she had his parents killed and left him for dead too. It was only a quirk of luck that he found his way back to the palace, which amused Scarlet enough that she kept him on as a messenger. Ruby doesn't know that her new ward is actually the long-lost twin of Peril. No record of that was ever made, and neither of the dragonets themselves remember. Now Sky's messenger days are behind him. Ruby is offered to sponsor his apprenticeship to an older druid who can teach him the finer techniques of their kind, including shapeshifting. Shifting continents, we have the Companions of the Endless Road, our Silkwing siblings who got left out the last video. And not just Luna and Blue. This companionship includes Swordtail and Io as well. Luna is a ranger, a warrior who travels to the edges of civilization to fight threats both physical and spiritual. Luna is mostly self-taught. She hasn't had many role models in her life, but she has a knack for survival and she's a clever dragon. The plight of the Silkwings in Pantala is an old saga. They were long ago conquered by the Hivewings, and unlike the Leafwings who were supposedly wiped out, they've been enslaved ever since. Luna and her brother were hatched in one of the hives. Both were trained to take on jobs assigned to them by Hivewings, but after her metamorphosis, when Luna was stricken with a vision of a great evil to the west, she was convinced that she needed to escape and stop this evil somehow. Her escape from the hive she hatched in was fraught with danger, and one of her friends nearly died on the way. But with the help of her brother and their two best friends, the 4 young Silkwings managed to escape their captors and start a new life of adventure on the road. Although she saw visions of the unnamed danger to the west, Luna and her friends don't know much else about it. But Luna was convicted by her vision, and her friends are unwilling to abandon her, so they call themselves the Companions of the Endless Road, because they've no idea where they're going, or when they're going to get there. Swordtail is a barbarian. Barbarians are fighters who rage. I thought this seemed to fit him. He seems prone to rushing into things, and that's certainly a trait of barbarians. Swordtail, who's been in love with Luna since he was a dragonette, knew he had to go with her when she admitted she was going to attempt the impossible and try to escape. He's always chafed under the rule of their Hivewing masters, frequently earning punishments for his unwillingness to bow and scrape. Once he and his friends escaped the hives, their journey began, but so did their challenges. Escaping was only the first danger. From magical beasts to Hivewing soldiers to roving bandits, the Companions of the Endless Road could have been named the Companions of the Deadly Road. During this time, Swordtail gains a reputation for being a relentless, dangerous fighter, even if he's also known for his impetuous choices and tendency to rush into fights without a plan. He hones his skills on the road, learning how to fight with whatever weapons they can scrounge up. Even if he doesn't have the vision of the evil to the west, Swordtail trusts Luna with his life. And if she says they need to find this something, he's going to be certain she gets there. And it doesn't hurt that he has a lifetime of stifled aggression to let out either. Swordtail especially enjoys the few fights they've had with roving Hivewings. He's always happy to bash them around. The others, especially Blue, are a little exasperated by his apparent bloodlust, but Swordtail is still, at his heart, someone who cares deeply about his friends and sister. For him, this just means being both willing and able to defend them no matter what happens to them during their journeys. His design was really fun for me because with his backstory, I imagine he's just kind of scrounging up whatever recovered gear he can on the road, so all of his stuff is super mismatched, which I think is both a fun detail and also a very Swordtail thing to do. Also, seeing a heavily armored Silkwing is kinda hilarious. Io is a wizard. Wizards use written spells to perform magic. Their magic is academically learned, not innate or gained through a deal or oath. Io shares her brother's deep hatred for Hivewings, but her passion burns more carefully. Io is able to plan, to consider her options, and to use every trick in her arsenal. An arsenal which grew exponentially when, during their travels, they came across an ancient book of spells in a long-destroyed Silkwing settlement. At first, Io had no desire to learn magic. She was a scrappy fighter and didn't see the need. But when they discovered the belongings of a long-dead Silkwing, it struck her how unfair it was that the Silkwings weren't allowed to learn magic of any kind. Only Hivewings were allowed to channel any power in the hives. Io realized that magic was just another part of her heritage that had been stolen from her. And that inspired her to take up the craft, learning from that old relic of a book they'd found together. It also inspired a lot of her design. I was trying to give her a certain look, with the markings on her robes and stuff. That's like traditional Silkwing wizard markings and stuff. So it's just kind of playing off the idea that Io is trying to revive part of their history. I like that both she and her brother are bringing back part of their culture the Hivewings squashed, the warrior part of their history, and the arcane. They're living proof that Silkwings can be more. Her studies move slowly until their journey takes them somewhere they hadn't expected. A remnant colony of Leafwings, who've been surviving in secret even though most dragons believe them dead. The companions have run into the Sapwings, a group of Leafwings who fought for peace back during the war. They invite the Silkwings to stay a while, curious about what kind of quest could draw them so far from the hives. While there, Io trains with some of their wizards. Their magic is very different from her own tribe's, but they do help her decipher the spells and expedite her learning and the recovery of some of her tribe's power. However, that isn't the only knowledge the Silkwings gain during their stay. Turns out, the Sapwings know something about this ancient evil that's been plaguing Luna's dreams. And last, we have Blue. Blue is a cleric. holy healers who channel the power of their deity to help all those in need around them. Blue had always been an empathetic dragonette, finding it easy to see the pain of those around him. So it's no surprise that when he met a Leafwing cleric named Hazel, he was excited by her vows. Hivewings don't have clerics, so he'd never heard of them before. While the companions of the Endless Road stay with the Leafwings, he trains under her, soon swearing oaths to her deity and becoming a full-fledged magical healer. For generations, the Leafwings have carefully cultivated the knowledge of holy healers. The legend of the Breath of Evil states that only the powers of a cleric can heal the injuries caused by that great evil, and the Leafwings have always considered it their sacred task to be prepared lest that enemy should ever return. It seems to be destiny that led the companions to the remnants of their tribe, because without the new power Blue's gained, they wouldn't stand any chance against the Breath of Evil. For the first time in his life, Blue has something he loves. Healing the injuries so common in life makes him feel like he can finally do something to help those around him. He looks forward to the day he returns to the hives, to bring this magic to his enslaved friends and family left behind. The four of them leave the Leafwings with their new knowledge, intent on finding and destroying the Breath of Evil, whatever it takes. Whew! Let's head back to Pyria and leave the companions to the long road ahead of them. Our next group is called the Black Tentacles, and they're something of a friendship of convenience. An enemy is our first multi-class dragon. She's a sorcerer rogue multi-class, which means that she has levels in both classes. Sorcerers are born with innate powers, and they're very common in the Seawing royal family. Anemone is far from their only sorcerer, but as sole heir to the throne, she was definitely their most important one. She grew up sheltered and pampered with only one problem. She had no sisters. None of her many sisters had ever hatched, leaving Anemone the sole heir to the throne. She wanted to become an adventurer, something that could never happen if she was constantly needed for the tribe. So when she found out that one of her sisters was alive, Anemone decided she would do whatever it took to find her. Anemone found out that one of the Seawing generals named Shark, a lesser member of the royal family and her own relative, had kidnapped one of her sisters, intending to raise her to take the throne from Queen Coral. He faked her death. What Anemone didn't realize was that he'd lost her after that. When she confronted him, Shark admitted that he'd lost the dragonette and didn't even know her name, or where she'd ended up, or if she was even still alive. Furious at the betrayal, Anemone killed Shark and left the Sea Kingdom the same day. She intended to leave alone, but was found by one of their family's guards, a dragon named Riptide. He was a close friend and swore to protect her if she'd take him with her. So the two of them set off on the run, fugitives from the Seawings who would bring Anemone back to her mother to face her murder of Shark. It's during their search for her missing sister that Anemone begins multiclassing as a rogue. Although she's a powerful sorcerer, Anemone begins to find that magic alone doesn't always cut it out in the real world. So learning to sneak, to steal, to eavesdrop, those are all skills Anemone perfects, determined to find out what happened to her sister, even if she no longer lives. Riptide is a fighter. Fighters are exactly what they sound like. Sort of the plain yogurt of the D&D world. They're proficient with weaponry, excellent warriors, and sturdy companions. Riptide has served as a royal guard since he was a new recruit in the Seawing army. When he was younger, he stopped an evil Seawing warlock named Whirlpool, once an advisor of the Queen, who turned on the royal family and tried to enchant Coral and Anemone. Riptide found out and bravely stopped the crazed dragon, forever earning the Queen's gratitude. He's still a guard, and he's proud to protect the royal family, and they in turn consider him a loyal friend for his long-ago rescue. However, Riptide has a secret. His loyalty to the royals has a hidden cause. Before his mother died, she told him a terrible secret. His father Gil, whom he'd never met, had been involved in the kidnapping of an unhatched royal Seawing egg. Shark had tried to kill him to tie off loose ends, but Gil had escaped, and nobody had seen him since. Burdened by a sense of guilt for his father's sins, Riptide feels it's his duty to protect the remainder of the royal family. When Anemone kills Shark, Riptide realizes she must have found out somehow, and he's determined to help her find her sister. After all, the only living link to her is his own father. He doesn't know how to tell Anemone this, but eventually he realizes that the longer he waits, the more furious she'll be, so he buckles down and admits what he knows by the time they reach the mainland. They take to calling themselves the Black Tentacles. They're fugitives from their tribe, but they're determined to work together toward their mutual goal. So they begin their search, starting with their first clue, a dragon named Gil, who nobody's seen in 10 years. And finally, we have the Winter's Remnant, a trio of dragons who share one vendetta against a single dragon. Icicle, a warlock who usurped the Icewing throne. The deposed Icewing Queen is named Snowfall. She inherited the throne after her mother's death, but didn't rule for long before she was overthrown by a cousin who technically shouldn't have even been eligible for the crown. Only sisters, daughters, and nieces could challenge. This hadn't stopped Icicle, however. Snowfall is a wizard, but she's an odd one, because she's only pretending to be a wizard. Although she can certainly wield magic, it's not thanks to any spellbook or learned ability. When she became queen, Snowfall gained access to centuries of magical Icewing relics. And when she escaped the palace, she took as many of those relics as she could carry with her to keep them from aiding Icicle in her quest for power. However, once she'd escaped, Snowfall realized these relics could be her ticket home. With the dozens of magic items she took, she's able to pretend as if she has magic of her own, which keeps other dragons who might see her as an opportunity for fortune from causing her too much trouble. Snowfall isn't sure how she's going to retake her kingdom. Icicle made a deal with some kind of deity or power to gain her fearsome new magic, but Snowfall had no idea who or what was helping her. Her cousin was extremely powerful, so Snowfall and her friend Lynx, who escaped the palace with her, decides that she needs to learn magic of her own. True magic, not the talisman she relies on. So they decide to travel south and find a school of magic where Snowfall can learn the magic she'll need to defeat her cousin. Lynx is Snowfall's best friend and a bard. Bards are masters of charisma, storytellers, tricksters, and generally possessing flamboyant personalities. Most use musical instruments to weave their magic, but some rely only on the power of their quick tongue. And that's all Lynx has ever needed. She's a sharp dragon with an ethereal singing voice, outgoing, friendly, and easy to talk to. Many dragons have entered into a conversation with Lynx thinking one thing, and walked away finding themselves wholeheartedly believing something else. When Snowfall ascended the throne, Lynx helped smooth over those unhappy with the new queen. Her charming words and convincing tales helped pave her friend's path of leadership. Now that they're both on the run, Lynx helps in different ways. Does that Icewing look like the missing queen to you? No, of course she doesn't. You must be imagining things. Hey, I think I just saw that bracelet unlock that door. Really? Are you sure it isn't the key she's holding? You must have missed that. Lynx isn't sure exactly how she can help her friend. Her powers are subtle, not bombastic. How can she stand up to someone as dangerous as Icicle? But in a world where their entire tribe has turned against Snowfall, being the only dragon still loyal to her counts for a lot. And Lynx reasons that if she can just keep the former queen alive, that may be enough. Snowfall will find a way to retake her throne. Many are the situations that Lynx has carefully talked the two of them out of. She's been talking her way out of trouble since she was a dragonette, but now her skills are helping keep her and Snowfall alive as they search for something or someone who can help them defeat Icicle. In fact, it's Lynx who meets the final member of their party, a mudwing named Sora. They meet at an inn somewhere near the coast, and during their idle chat, Lynx learns that Sora has just as much cause to hate Icicle as the two of them do. Sora is a good old-fashioned rogue. Rogues are sneaky fighters who use stealth to overcome their obstacles. Sora didn't want to be a rogue. In the Mud Kingdom, she was training as a soldier. She grew up happy with two of her siblings, Umber and Crane. She had other siblings, but a bandit attack had separated them at a young age, and they didn't know where the rest of their siblings were. However, everything changed the day that Crane died. Her sweet sister was killed in battle by a laughing Icewing maniac, an Icewing named Icicle. Since then, Sora has been consumed with thoughts of revenge. Her fervor pushed out everything else in her life, including Umber, who said he couldn't follow her on her quest. He stayed in the Mud Kingdom to keep searching for their other siblings. Sora, on the other hand, headed north, determined to find and kill the Icewing who'd ruined her life. During her travels, Sora begins learning new skills, like how to lie, how to fight someone in the dark, and even how to craft a bomb from a cactus. Her new life isn't what Crane would have wanted for her. But because of Icicle, Crane isn't around to want anything anymore, and Sora refuses to let that go. It must be fate, then, that she meets Snowfall and Lynx, two dragons who also have cause to hate the Icewing. And they warn her that Icicle has changed. She's no longer a mere warrior. Now she's gained unholy magical power, something Sora is woefully unprepared to deal with. Faced with this, Sora makes a difficult choice and delays her revenge. She travels with her new Icewing friends, deciding to help Snowfall learn magic that will allow her to defeat her cousin. Sora can't take Icicle on by herself after all. Mudwings are meant to fight in troops. And so, the Winter's Remnant is born, a trio of dragons determined to relieve Icicle of her ill-gotten gains. Wow, I can't believe just how much I adore all of these new stories. I honestly don't know if I can pick a favorite. Everyone is just so fun with such great stories. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget I have 2 other Wings of Fire D&D compilations already up. And there's more on the way. I have plans for 2026. I think if you look back, you'll be surprised how this video ties into those 2 older ones. There's a lot of callbacks and Easter eggs snuck in there for y'all to find. And again, I just want to remind everyone that I have Christmas mystery boxes available in my store. These are a Christmas special filled with all new merch, including a new ship keychain, among other awesome surprises. They're only going to be available for about another week or so if you haven't got yours yet, don't wait too long. If you want more information, go ahead and check out the link in the pinned comment or the description. Be sure to let me know in the comments who's your favorites if you're able to pick. And don't forget to check out the description for links to my DeviantArt, where this art is posted, and my Patreon, where you could have seen this video a month ago and still can support me. Thank you guys for watching, and have a blessed week.